This trader I was talking to was down and out on his last bit of hope in the market because he has gone from course to course to course, program to program to program. And this trader finally came to me and basically said, "Look, RD, I've been in this course, I've bounced around so many courses, and it just hasn't been working for me for whatever reason." And for this example, it can be this guy over here because I'm sure this guy doesn't want me to say his name. But basically coming to me and say, "Well, Artie, why is it that this same trading course it's working for some people, but for me it doesn't work?" And I know it's not just this trading course because I've tried so many other trading courses out there, and I always seem to be this guy on the side of the ledger of unprofitability, while there's other people that's absolutely killing it with the same strategy, with the same videos that I am seeing in the same course that we're taking. And he just wanted to know the answer, and he was desperate to know this answer. And we started to pare back exactly what he was doing wrong. And I asked him, "Okay, well, are you watching the videos like you should?" He said, "Yeah, RD, look, I watched the videos multiple times." I said, "Okay, are you taking the time to truly understand, digest it, and really take notes from it?" He said, "Yeah, RD, look, I have pages full of notes." And I say, "Okay, well, it's not you watching it. You're taking the time to watch it." I said, "Are you implementing it? Are you making sure that you're hitting each and every single point that you should be hitting with this strategy?" And he said, "RD, I'm doing it 24/7. I'm following this thing to a T, but it's not working for me. I know the strategy works because I back tested it, and in the back testing results, everything is great, everything is perfect. I know the strategy works, but for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what course I join, it doesn't matter what Discord I get into, it doesn't matter what guru I follow into trading, nothing is working." And I said to him these very simple words. I said, "It's not that the trading courses you buy aren't working. It's just that it's not working for you." Because for there to be happy people in the market and people like you who are disappointed, then obviously what's happening is working. It's just working for some people and not all people. And if we get to the point as traders where we can acknowledge, and everybody has come to this point to where you ask yourself, why is this thing that I'm working on not working? Why is it not yielding to me? Why is it not making sense? Why is it always frustrating? If we can get real for a second and ask ourselves, what is this thing that stands between the successful people looking at the same strategy and the people not doing well at all? We can understand it's not the strategy because other people are doing well with it. We can understand it's not the mentor, it's not the time we put in. And after we dug through all of his issues, everything that he was doing, we both came to the conclusion. I knew from the start what it was, but we both needed to come to this conclusion that it's nothing external, but it was simply all mental. And it wasn't just mental, he had a mental block that was keeping him from moving from this side over to this side of the equation. Because the thing about this trader was a very emotional person by nature. This person was a very impatient person by nature. And like we already talked about, what's happening in your personal life, who you are as a person, that's always going to bleed into your trading life. There's no such thing as having zero emotions in trading, but having emotions in life. There's no such thing as not being able to carry that stuff over. So the issue and the challenge and the thing that we had to figure out for him was, how can we shift your mental so that this block that you are experiencing is no longer there, so that you're able to shift from this person to the person that you should be in trading. And that's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. After, being in this day trading market for well over a decade, then turning over to actually helping traders when it comes to their psychology, being able to build systems for their trading, everything like that. The number one thing I find that keeps traders back is mental. And that's exactly what I made this channel on. So how can we begin this shift and eliminate this block when it comes to trading? Look, I mean, this is a long topic because there's no one size fits all when it comes to the mental block. The mental block could literally be you feel like you're not worthy to make money in the market, so subconsciously you self-sabotage. The mental block could be impatience. The mental block could be you think that you'll never be able to do it because it's too complicated. There's so many mental blocks that a person can have. That's why I truly like to pare down exactly what the root cause is when I'm talking with traders. But I want to give you some type of framework that you can use to be able to identify whatever the mental block is and a way in which you can circumvent that so that you can shift from here over to here. Because I guarantee you, there's no strategy that you can possibly learn that will make this mental block obsolete. It will always be there. And you're always going to be unprofitable with every strategy until you actually get this out the way. So, how can we do this in practice? First, I want you to ask yourself, remember, every emotion that you're dealing with in your real life, every emotion that you have in your real life, frustration in your marriage, with your kids, with your job, impatience because you want to, whatever it is always going to lead back to your trading. So if you're an impatient patient, if you're an impatient person, that's a tongue twister. If you're an impatient person in real life, you're going to be impatient in your trading. You're going to make terrible mistakes in your trading, and you're always going to be behind and always have terrible manifestations of those emotions. So, first, I want you to ask yourself, what emotions do I have in my day-to-day life? Do you find yourself to be an impatient person? And this may be something that you have to ask somebody else. What characteristics make up who you are? Are you impatient? Do you jump the gun too quickly? Right? Do you spend so much time analyzing that you hesitate on everything that you do? Are you an unconfident person? All of these things carry over to your trading. Now, once you have these list of things, now I want you to ask yourself, when I'm trading, what do I notice in my trading? Do I notice that I'm always hesitating in my trading? Do I notice that I'm always getting out of a trade early, always getting out of a trade too late if it's a loser? What do you notice in your trading? So you have a column that is basically, we could write here, you have a column that is personal life, which is all your emotions in your personal, and then you have stuff that's also in your trading life. And the idea is to create a chart of both to be able to understand how you can basically change and shift these mental blocks so that now you know what your personal mental blocks are, you know what your personal things that you're dealing with are in terms of emotions, and now you know what it is exactly for trading. Now we can start to actually understand and watch out for these different mental avenues and how they may impact what you're doing in your day-to-day life. Now, here's the incredible part that I find that happens for traders when they start doing this exercise is a few things. One, they learn a lot of things about themselves and they start to understand a lot of these things that are in this personal column actually are either everything or a lot of similarities that are also in the trading column. Now that we understand what the mental things are, and I like to call these mental things that are happening blocks, because these are literally things that are blocking your profitability as a trader, not happy in the market because you're not getting the results you want, into shifting into this person. And these blocks, these terrible mental habits that you have, these emotions that you have, they're blocking your profitability. That's why I call them mental blocks, right? And look, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not Dr. Phil, so I'm not going to try to unroot exactly what your root cause is. I'm not going to try to go back to middle school and, psychoanalyze the kids that made fun of you and tell yourself you're worthy, you're worthy. I don't do that. If you need that, like I always say, go knock on Dr. Phil's door. I'm not trying to make you come to a emotional kumbaya here. I'm trying to help you to understand what these emotional blocks are, these mental blocks are in your trading, in your personal life, which leads to your trading, so that you can recognize and understand it, so that when you find yourself doing it, you can catch yourself. And then how we can circumvent these. So we know what they are. It's important to know what they are so that when you start seeing these things evident in your trading, a few things. One, either stop trading and walk away for the day. Two, reframe your mental, reframe your idea. So if you find yourself being impatient, well, we know that's one of the things that lies in this trading mental block, right? Either personal life or trading mental block. So when you find yourself being impatient while you're trading, okay, something's out of whack. I'm very emotional about something. I'm impatient about this. I need to calm down. I need to cool out, right? And if I'm not able to do that, then I just need to walk away from trading for the day, right? And of course, there's better strategies, not better, but there's different strategies that I give based on different situations. But for a one size fits all video, which is what this is intended to be, that's truly one thing that's great to do is just walk away because we understand what it is. Now, what does how what's the purpose of understanding what this is if we are not able to switch from this person over here to this person who you're meant to be in trading? How can we circumvent it? We know what the mental block is. How can we defeat it? How can we destroy it? Again, you're not able to defeat or destroy a mental block unless you get just truly, unless you just get therapy, unless you get to the root cause of why you're an impatient person, get to the root cause of why you're this, that, and the third, because a lot of these things are deep rooted. Now, for some things and a good number of things, I'm actually able to walk through how you can abolish these different mindsets. So impatience is one of the things that you're able to actually not reverse, but have a different perspective on. So you have less of it in your trading. But when it comes to like feelings of unworthiness, self-sabotage, well, that's deeper mental issues you need worked out. So considering that a lot of things, right, when it comes to emotions need to be worked out, how can we still make money without paying a visit to go to LA to see Dr. Phil? Well, this is how we do it. We're going to not eliminate this mental block because it's still going to be there, right? But we're going to minimize it. Yeah, you can see this. We're going to minimize this mental block as much as we possibly can. And after we minimize it, we're going to create what I love to call, and if you've been on this channel, you know, I'm going to draw it over here. We're going to create what I love to call a system. And this system is going to allow us to be able to flawlessly and consistently execute our strategy that is proven in the market so that we can actually circumvent our mental block and actually make money with the strategy, but not just make money, but make as much money as the strategy possibly can with the system. No, that's not financial advice. No, that's not a financial guarantee. But what I am saying here is that when you create a system based off your strategy, you are actually able to circumvent these mental blocks that you have in your trading, start getting more consistent results, and shift from this person over to here. And again, of course, that's not a guarantee. Trading always has risk. But what I know is that creating a system from a strategy that's proven is one of the best and greatest ways to shift from here to here. And after we came to this conclusion, after you come to this conclusion, the trader, this guy, he understood, okay, my mental was the only thing holding me back. It was never the strategy. But I know as long as I trade the strategy, I'm always going to have this mental block. So one of the key things for him was he needs to change his strategy into a system so he can shift from this person to this person. So now it doesn't matter what course he joins, it doesn't matter what program he goes into, it doesn't matter what mastermind, whatever, he's going to get it. He's going to be successful. And the reason why is so simple because he's going to take the strategy that is already proven, that's being taught, but he knows that he personally has mental blocks that is specific to him because everybody is special. So he knows it doesn't matter what strategy he gets, he's never going to be profitable with it because he has mental blocks. So now this guy is going to be using a system. So each and every single different course or mastermind he joins, he will be successful because he's going to take that proven strategy and he's going to create a system around that proven strategy. And is always going to be shifting him from this state to this state. And as long as he sticks to that system, he will forever be shifted unto here. It doesn't mean that he won't have losing days. It may not even mean that he has losing weeks, but it does mean that his trading has improved dramatically by switching from a strategy to a system. And this is exactly what I love to help traders with: overcoming mental blocks and switching their strategies to systems so that they can actually start seeing the type of success and results that they want to see and look. If this interests you at all, check out the link in the description. Stay updated. As always, this is RD Trades, and I'm out.